It sucks that it took the pandemic to get it,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm glad we have it.
are more seats. You can be comfortable coming to sit down.
Hey, Rachel. Thank you. I mean, I know, isn't it? It's incredible. No, she really likes me. Eddie brings me, and he's been, you know, he was there. And she went. She'll see it. I told her, I told you. I'm here to give it the power. That's fine. Okay, I don't want.
Yeah.
Front row seats, you don't want. The hardest seats.
Mi ketev yashut sohora ini pomitzi pe'ela urvava mini necha elecha lo yigash rakbi enasatasi teshuvo nagrishayim tireh ki atel adonai machzi al yom samta mionecha lo tu'une elecha ra'a v'nega lo yikra bo'ohalecha ki malachav yitzaverach lishmota b'kotorechecha Al kapai misa unkapenti go ke'evan ragaka al shaka v'chutem. Yikra eni v'ya ene imo ano kijitsara achatein v'achatehu. Ore yamin astiehu v'artehu v'ishwa. Ore yamin astiehu.
So much to our pallbearers who observe a very high mitzvah. This is one of the hardest. And that is why, as Sharee's coffin was brought to the spot of her burial, the pallbearers paused 7 times. It's important that we fulfill this mitzvah, but this is the most difficult one that we fulfill with hesitancy. Most mitzvot we rush to do. This one is one of the hardest. Thank you to all who fulfilled that mitzvah this morning. Beloved, thou hast brought me many flowers plucked in the garden all the summer through and winter, and it seemed as if they grew in this close room, nor missed the sun and showers. So in a like name of that love of ours, take back these thoughts which here unfolded too, and which on warm and cold days I withdrew from my heart's ground. Indeed, those beds and bowers be overgrown with bitter weeds and rue, and wait thy weeding. Yet here's rose, valentine, here's ivy. Take them as I used to do, thy flowers, and keep them where they shall not pine. Instruct thine eyes to keep their colors true, and tell thy soul their roots are left in mine. The words of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, so appropriate. Sharee brought many flowers in the name of love for Michael and family and her tradition and for life. Your flowers, Sharee, will be kept their colors true, roots entwined with those of your soulmate forever. and those who loved you so remain, blessed by all the beauty and love you shared and the caring that you brought, but so deeply saddened. And this is why we have come to this consecrated place this morning to pay homage to a beloved wife, mother, grandmother, cousin, and friend, Sharee Lynn Feldman Zeff, also known by her Hebrew name, Svia Bat Chaim Aharon Vitova. We've come to acknowledge her soul's journey toward union with the Holy One. Sharee passed from this earth on Friday afternoon, September 16th, 2022, the 20th day of the Hebrew month of Elul, in the year we recognize to be 5782. It is for her life that we are so thankful, and in her memory that we are here to participate in this holy task. And we will do that according to our tradition with recitation of Holy Scripture, prayer, and sharing memories. For those of you whom I don't know, my name is Rabbi Sarah Gilbert, and I am so honored that my co-officiant this morning is Rabbi Bernard Gerson, the very special spiritual leader in Sharee and Michael's lives. And it's our hope that our service will bring some comfort to dear husband Michael. Michael, we embrace you with love and blessings for comfort. I extend sympathy to beloved children, Randy and her husband Joshua, Daniel and his wife, Daniel and his wife Jessica, who have flown from California to be with their dad. And condolences to Michael's cousin Marty and his wife Joni, who have traveled from Pennsylvania. To cousin Margie in Nevada, who I believe is viewing us virtually. To dear nephew Robert and his wife Helene, who have come from Florida to support Michael. And to wonderful cousins Marvin and Marlene and their son Bill, and also Sean and Julie. Sharee was blessed with a friend who was like a sister, Joe Hupchick. All our sympathy to you. I recognize two special friends, Wally, Jack, and Chadwick. Your presence brings much comfort. And as we stand not far from their graves, we remember Sylvia and Charles, and of course, Jonathan, Zichronam Livracha. John was a special brother to Michael and Sharee. May all of the memories of these dear loved ones continue to be for a blessing. And so to honor Sharee and to comfort those who mourn for her, we thank the Almighty and consecrate this time together. The wisdom of our tradition informs us that all life is fleeting, but deep and loving caring is forever. Adapting the words of Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, found in our Bible, L'kol zaman v'et, l'kol chafetz takas hashamayim, a season is set for everything, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to share and a time to receive, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them in, a time to work and a time to rest, a time to speak and a time to be silent, a time to lay seeds and a time to taste their fruit, a time to dance and a time to wail, a time for birthing and a time for dying. The time of mourning is a complicated time filled with many emotions and memories, bitter and sweet, sad and consoling. So I call upon Rabbi Gerson to bring his words of comfort as he shares his reflections of Sharee, as well as words of Bible.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Gilbert. Honored to be here alongside you as we carry out our sacred tasks. However bitter they are, we are here, a holy gathering to undertake them. And with your permission, before I move forward into the biblical selections that are of protocol for this occasion, I wish to offer just a couple of thoughts. First of all, to echo my wishes of comfort to all the named relatives, as the Feldman family is considered to be like family to me, and we've been together for so many life cycle occasions, and hopefully will continue to be in joy, even as part of that deal is in sadness as well. And of course, special words of thanks to my good friend Michael, not only for caring for Sharee during these difficult weeks that have concluded, but also for all of the years that you were in partnership together. It is poetic justice, my friends, that this memorial service takes place on the same day as the memorial rites for Queen Elizabeth II. Now, granted, there are not 500 heads of state here upon us. Perhaps that's a good thing, because the security at Mount Nebo may not be able to handle that. Nonetheless, I do feel like there are some common threads. We find in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 6, just before we get to the first rendition of the 10 Commandments, God charges Moses to deliver these words to the people of Israel. Va'atem tihiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. But you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you, Moses, shall speak to the children of Israel. Now, mind you, as a people that prides itself upon being fairly democratic in access to God, we normally do not have royalty in our playbook, outside of a couple of occasions. First of all, on Shabbat, we welcome the Sabbath as we would a queen into our midst. And I have no doubt that Michael and his kin treated Sharee with that and accorded her with that same sense of royalty. You gave her honor, you gave her companionship, you gave her a very sacred and cherished place for her to spend the remainder of her days. And for that, there cannot be any possible repayment of that debt. She loved being with all of you. And the fact that she needed to wait so long in her life to find it made the reaping of those benefits all the more sweeter. And then, of course, the other time that we invoke royalty is on the coming days of Rosh Hashanah, when we fancy ourselves to re-coronate God as the king. Commentators tell us that that expression, Mamlechet Kohanim v'Goy Kadosh, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, is really meant as a mission statement, that the ambiance of royalty that is named by God and attached to us is meant as a red flag that we need to treat each other with dignity, that we need to be on terms with each other, that allows for rewards if we are virtuous and consequences if we are not. And that mission statement was intended as a prelude to the ultimate strategy, which would be the 10 Commandments. We know Sharee to have been a person of faith. Her affinities were with congregations that enabled her to express that. And as we now invoke the words of the Esha Chayil, the final chapter of Proverbs, we recall her courage as a person of faith in embracing her narrative and allowing for it to play itself out. Yes, we would have liked to have had more time, but the story that we will be hearing today is indeed a good one, and one that all of us, I know, and I share, are proud to be attached with. Asher chayu mi'imtza v'rachok mipninim mikra, otach ba lev bala v'shalal lo yatzar, g'malatu tov v'lo ra kol yemei chayeha. What a precious find is a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She is good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hand to the poor. She is clothed with strength and splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided by kindness. She oversees the activities of her household and never eats the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her and says, many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hands. Wherever people gather, her deeds, they speak her praise. The words of Psalm 23, known across the faith traditions as being a side text to this juncture of life. After I chant the Hebrew, you're welcome to say aloud, if you know it, the words in English. Mizmor l'David, Adonai roi lo echzor, v'nodeh she'yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni, nafshi yishovev yancheni v'magle tzedek lema'an shmo, gam ki elech b'geit salmavet lo irara, ki ata imoti shivtecha umishantecha hema yenachamuni, ta'arach lefanai shochan neget zorurai, Tishanta Bashem and Roshi Kosi Rivaya, Achto Bachesed Yirtifuni Kol Yemechayai, Vishavti Bevet Adonai Liorech Yami. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God.
Thank you so much for your beautiful words. The comfort you bring them in person. Kate Horn and Herman Feldman recognized how fortunate they were when blessed by the adoption of a sweet baby girl in 1954. Sharee had been born on May 27th here in Denver and was always so proud to have been chosen as a very special gift to her loving parents. Herman had a dry cleaning business. He was a tailor too. Kate was a homemaker. Her parents doted on their only child who filled their home and completed their family. In return, Sharee was an agreeable and careful child, well-mannered and well-behaved. Whether by nature or wise nurturing. These most congenial traits were part of Sharee's personality and character throughout her life. Sharee's childhood was good. The little family was close and loving. A most significant aspect of Sharee's elementary years was meeting a new friend at the age of 8. Joe Upton and Sharee were classmates and soon grew to develop an extraordinary friendship, becoming fast friends like sisters in a relationship that extended over 60 years. Sharee was always present for Joe, and through all the good and bad times, Joe was there for Sharee, a pillar of strength, especially during these recent months. We can only imagine the depth of the tragedy that struck when Sharee was only 13. Kate had been a victim of the polio epidemic, and in 1967, her mother died, a loss which remained with Sharee. Her grief was deep and unending. Michael attributed Sharee's rare empathetic abilities to her mother's disability from the polio, and then her death at a critical time in Sharee's life. Her attachment to her father following her mother's death grew even stronger. Sharee went on to graduate high school at Thomas Jefferson High. She attended Colorado State University in Fort Collins for a while, and then made the decision to go on to train to become a dental hygienist. But after a short time in her new job, Sharee realized that the dental practice was not for her. I give her so much credit in recognizing what was not to be her path, what she did not enjoy at all, and then taking action to make a change. We all learn from that. Sharee went back to school to achieve an associate's degree in criminal justice and loved her work in fraud investigation for many, many years. For a while, she worked in Washington, D.C., but Sharee was a Western girl at heart, and after trying the East Coast, returned to her true place in Colorado. Here at home, she could provide support and presence for her ailing father, too. So on to the story of the meeting. Sharee had reached out to the special needs community in her special, compassionate way. It was working as a paraprofessional and volunteering with the program at Denver Public Schools and also of Jewish Family Services that Sharee met Jonathan Zeff. She joined John in activities and was his driver at times. Jonathan was always delighted that he was the one who met Sharee first. But it was at a big Hanukkah party held at the JCC for those in the special program that Sharee finally met Jonathan's big brother, Michael, and the rest is history. Now, it was not love at first sight. The couple dated on and off, but finally, as Michael said, he made the best decision in his life. Sharee and John first had a civil marriage ceremony and then were overjoyed to celebrate their Jewish wedding with Rabbi Gerson on May 28, 2006. Sharee continued to work on fraud investigation until she went to work with Michael at Zeff Merchandisers. Knowing Sharee, it is not surprising that she rose to become general manager of the company. Sharee and Michael's life was rich together. Jonathan was an important part of the family. He loved Sharee and she loved him, bringing him care and comfort, having fun with him. Michael said that Jonathan added actually a singular bond in their relationship. Sharee and Michael added Zeke to the family, a too cute, tiny bundle of excitement and energy. Sharee sewed and knitted and baked, famous for her tiramisu. We have talked about Sharee's green thumb. She loved gardening, became known as the flower farmer, her favorite crop. She taught Michael some tips, and now he gardens, overcoming his black thumb problem. Sharee's collection of Judaica art and pieces is fabulous, a testament to her love for our tradition and her eye for all things bright and beautiful. Especially her collection of Hanukkah menorahs must be seen and enjoyed. Sharee was a special people person. She loved giving gifts. Her consideration and empathy for others was so admirable. Her manners were genteel, her etiquette gracious. She was a loyal and always devoted friend to those of her, and of course, the friends of Michael. Family was a priority for Sharee. Josh will always remember how she embraced him with so much warmth. And most important, as cousin Marty emphasized, the most important thing about Sharee was her devotion to Michael. And Michael appreciated every moment of their life together, filled with gratitude that even a little bit later in his life, he had found his shirt. But now it's time to hear from those who knew Sharee best and loved her so deeply. I know that Michael composed some words and has requested that cousin Marty come and share them with you now.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Marty Weiss. I'm Michael's cousin. And I have some thoughts that Michael has asked me to express to you. First of all, Michael thanks everyone here for coming. He says, my children and family have been so supportive, and our friends have stepped up with kindness and understanding beyond belief. 2 months ago, Michael says, my world changed forever. Sharee and I went from planning 2 wonderful trips to fighting for her life. Her courage was astounding throughout this fast-paced ordeal. Her plans were slashed in her world, which largely included supporting me, Michael, in all my endeavors, was reduced to an unwanted end. Michael says, Sharee was always in my corner, and I'm not sure what life will look like without her. Michael and Sharee laughed together, planned together, and always enjoyed each other's company. She was sincere, loving, and genuinely concerned about making my life and the life of those whom she loved a better place. Michael goes on, this is my time to grieve and experience true loneliness without her. She helped Michael and his beloved brother Jonathan and children with the business and every facet of their life. Michael and Sharee didn't always agree, but there was always a valid reason. Her opinions were rational, fair, balanced, and down to earth. Many of you were beneficiaries of her loving kindness, steadfast determination, and true friendship. Sharee was taken from us too soon, but as one of her favorite musical talents, Billy Joel said, only the good die young. Our love and her memory will last forever. And that concludes Michael's thoughts. And I just wanted to share one item of my own. We've already alluded to the Queen and how royal Sharee was. The Queen is really a true comparison. very descriptive and truthful comparison of the kind of person that she was. And emblematic of that is that she made a terrific brisket. And that was my first introduction to Sharee. It was another family gathering, and as happens at family gatherings, you eat. Sharee and Michael were only acquaintances then, but she provided a brisket, which I took a bite out of, and I looked across the dining table at my sister Margie. And thought, Michael, this is the girl for you. That brisket is emblematic of her caring and family orientation. A true Marna. Thank you.
Marty, thank you so much for your support, for your words. And Michael, your words are so beautiful, a tribute to share. Friend Joe Upchick is like a sister to Sharee, and she brings reflections now.
The world has lost an exceptional person, and I've lost my lifelong best friend. Someone asked if I would be telling stories, and I said that would take the rest of the day. But we had many good times and bad. We were friends for 60 years. Like all people, we had times of happiness and times of total despair. But knowing Sharee was by my side made all good things better and hard times easier to bear. Two people can carry a weight easier than one. She was my rock and I was hers. The short and deadly illness she fought was a weight that crushed us both before we even knew it was there. She kept wanting to fight because she was brave and she wanted to live. Helping her understand that it was a fight that could not be won was a terrible and difficult thing I had to say to her. She did everything right, but here we are. Even the best of friends cannot attend each other's funeral. In our grand plan, I was supposed to go first. Had it all laid out. And I would have gladly traded places with her to save her the pain she went through and spare me the pain I live with now. This wound is a wound that will never heal. I will soldier on and learn to live without Sharee, but the hole in my heart will always be with me. I will keep my memories there as they will give me a reason to smile when I hear her name. Grief is the last act of love we can give to those we love. Where there is deep grief, there was great love. I love you, Sharee, and always will. When we're together again, you will be my best friend forever. Thank you.
All our sympathy to you, Joe. Your words and the memories you brought this morning are so important and so beautiful. Daughter Randy brings a letter from cousin Margie, who could not be here with us this morning, but wrote of her love for Sharee.
These are the words of Margie, who is Margie's sister and Mike's cousin. You all know that if I was with you in person today, I would speak. Mark, Eric, and I feel awful that we can't be with you today, but we are fortunate to have shared so many years in celebrations with Sharee and all of you. I'm so grateful Sharee was in our lives, and I'm grateful that everything I say here, I said to her many times. As most of you know, everything in our family was judged by how people treated Jonathan. Sharee exceeded the expectation of treating Jonathan with overwhelming love. You may not know that my dear aunt, Michael's mother, met Sharee at one of Jonathan's programs. Sharee was the loving volunteer and my aunt, the reliable matchmaker for our family's true prince, Michael. Much would happen before Michael would realize the true love of Sharee, but once Sharee met Michael, she was smitten. She never turned back. A tremendous love blossomed like a fairy tale. Sharee saw Michael for the dear, giving, loving, generous, caring man that he is from the beginning. Sharee saw and continued to see Michael as a movie star, her very own Mandy Patinkin. To her, he was the most handsome man in the world. Sharee truly worshipped Michael, and to me, that dedication, that devotion, that overwhelming commitment to him, Jonathan, and her marriage was what made Sharee special. Sharee loved in an unconditional way, and Michael loved her back unconditionally. My aunt knew from the first time she met Sharee that she was the one that would make both of her sons happy. Sharee cared for our Jonathan, advocated for him, devoted herself to him, and in many ways married him too. That was the ultimate test of character for our family, to Michael, and to all of us. Michael was a wonderful man, a loving, kind, caring person, a loyal and devoted parent, partner, friend, and relative. And Michael was made better for having Sharee in his life. They brought the best out in each other. They were truly beshirt, truly meant for each other. It was a blessing that God put Sharee in all of our lives, and I'm so glad that I told her that and thanked her out loud so many times for being a part of our family and for making Michael so happy. Sharee's memory will always be with us.
Thank you, Randy. Margie, thank you so much for your beautiful message that adds so much to our time here together this morning. Burial. Burial is the last physical act that we can do for our loved one and friend. It is an act referred to as chesed shel emet, an act of true, pure compassion and honor, for the deceased can in no way repay his kindness in return. The burial is difficult, but it will help start the mourners on the way to acceptance. Once the casket is fully lowered, we'll invite everyone to join in taking up the shovel to fill the kever, the grave. For many, it's a custom to first shovel with the shovel reverted upside down as an act of shnui, making a difference. We are not using a shovel in the familiar way as Sharee might have in gardening. Rabbi Gerson will explain more and invite you to take your turn.
And so as we have honored Sharee's name with the beautiful words, we now have opportunity, each of us, as Rabbi Gilbert explained, to surround her with what will be ultimately her eternal blanket of protection. After the initial spades are shoveled into the grave by the rabbis and by the immediate family, we shall then invite everyone else to come forward. And as we do have several able-bodied folk here today, we will endeavor to try to fill in as much of the grave as we can, after which we'll proceed with the morning rituals of Kriya, the tearing of the ribbon, which initiates the period of bereavement for the immediate family, followed by their first recitation of Kaddish. Afar atah uli afar tashuv. Dust you are, and to dust you shall return. God said to the first man and woman. Al mekomach shavo b'shalom. On this resting place in Leah, may you rest in peace. Adonai natan, Adonai lakach. God has given, and God has proclaimed.
Participate, everyone is.
Either side of the grave. Invite anybody who would like to return to shovel a little bit more on our way to covering the casket. Please feel forward to come and shovel as many spades full as you like. As we continue this holy work, I'm going to recite the committal prayer. Adonai Natan Adonai Laka, Yehi Shem Adonai Levoga, Kubye Kapira Vondolo Yashlit, Behirba Hashivapo, Velo Yair, Volkato. The soul of all life is in your hand, your might is filled with justice, O God. Have mercy on the remnant of your flock. Wondrous in purpose, mighty indeed. You see all the way of mortals, giving each according to his ways and the fruit of his deeds. Proclaim that God is just. God is my rock, in whom there is no flaw. The Lord has given and the Lord has reclaimed. Praise be the name of the Lord. God, being merciful, grants atonement for sin and does not destroy. Time and again, God restrains wrath and refuses to let rage be all consuming. Have mercy upon us and strengthen us to maintain our courage at this time of sorrow. As we pray for the soul's safe journey, abiding with God and dwelling in peace, we also pray for the safety of the mourners who now begin their period of absence. I should repeat after me. Say, in acknowledging God as the judge of truth. I look, saw, these words are translated, praised are you, Lord our God, sovereign of the universe, who is the righteous judge. And now these words I'll ask you to repeat after me. Job. Adonai Natan, God has given. Adonai Lakach, and God has reclaimed. Adonai Lakach. Praise be.
Thank you so much all for participating in this. And we'll pause at this point. Complete our prayers. Every Kaddish that we recite in our usual synagogue service marks a transition point in our worship. The mourner's Kaddish that at the cemetery also marks a transition. This is the time of transition of a life. Death is not an ending, but a time when a soul, Sharee's soul, begins her ascent from this world to the next. So I invite the immediate family to join with me in ancient words. Yikazal, Yikazal, Shemei Rabbah, the Alma, the Brach, the Te, the Amrit Malkute, the Kaye Ho, the Yomei Ho, the Kaye, all Beit Yisrael, Ba'agawa Udisman Kari, Yimaru,
Amen.
Iparak, Yishtabak, Yitahar, Yishmam, Yitase, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shmoyishah, Le'elah, Kol, Birkata, Bashirata, Tushmakata, Nechamata, Damirat, Yoma, Yibru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemayim, V'chaim Aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Yimaru, Amen. Osei Shalom B'Mamav, Uya Asei Shalom, Aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Yimaru, Amen. May God's great name grow exalted and sanctified in the world that the Lord created. May God reign forever. May God's great name be blessed forever, praised, glorified, extolled, mighty, and lauded be the name of the Holy One, beyond any blessing and song, praise and consolation that are uttered in the world. May there be abundant peace from heaven and life bestowed upon us, upon all Israel, and upon all who dwell on this earth. God is the Lord who makes peace in the heights. Dear God, make peace for us, and we all respond. Amen. 'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lived in me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love what death has touched. Poet Yehuda Halevi composed these words almost 1,000 years ago. And it is more than remarkable how meaningful and touching they are for us today. And so I recited this time the traditional prayer for the ascent and peace of Sharee's soul. For those who are comfortable doing so, I invite you to rise. The Hail Male prayer. Began Aiden to Ana pa Avarakamin, Asireha, the Sete, and a Betha la Ulami, Utsur, Bitwakain, et Nishmata, Adonai, Hunakalata, Betanua, Ishala, Vachalom, Mishkava, Binomar, El Malay Rachamim, merciful God who dwells on high and in our hearts, grant perfect peace to the soul of Sibia Bat Chaim Aharon. She has gone to her eternal rest. Shelter her in your divine presence. In your eyes, 1,000 years are but as yesterday. May Sharee's memory be a source of solace and healing, abiding among all who knew her as a lasting blessing. May her memory inspire those who knew her to live justly and kindly. May Sharee's soul be at peace. May she be bound up in the bonds of life eternal. Say, you may be seated for a minute. Eternal God, let your presence rest upon us as we give thanks for Sharee Zeff's life. May her memory live long among us and be a source of blessing and of strength for us. For in the months ahead, it will be up to those who knew and loved Sharee to fill the measures of time with memories, to speak of her life, to learn from her values, to reflect on her pleasures, and to remember the beauty that she left in this world. The voice of she who lives no more will still echo within your thoughts, and what she was has become woven into what you are. Even as we pray for perfect peace for her, whose life has ended here on earth, so do we ask God to grant comfort and courage to the living. Give to Michael and all of his beautiful family who most deeply feel this loss the comfort of your presence, Adonai. May your unfailing love rest upon us, O Lord, even as we put our hope in you. And once again, we all say, Amen. Thank you all so much for being here to honor Sharee's memory and to bring comfort to her family today. Following our service, everyone is invited to return to visit with Michael and family at his home, 11462 Marlborough Drive in Parker. An evening service will be held at 7 p.m. 7:30 p.m. And another time to visit and attend will be the evening service held tomorrow, which will be at 7 p.m. tomorrow on Tuesday. And your being with us will be much appreciated as you help to make a minyan. Rabbi Person brings closing remarks.
As we depart from the graveside, a place that will continue to be a place of visitation, but in support of the mourners now moving into their space of Shiva, we invite all those outside of the immediate family to create two lines extending back towards the road. And since we already have critical mass over here, we'll ask if those that are here can already start by forming two columns. We'll invite everyone else to take a place on either side, and then we'll invite the family through. This is often referred to in contemporary times as the corridor of comfort. As the mourners pass through, we will extend our